Sanofi is scrapping a plan to license a drug made by Maze Therapeutics. That is after the FTC said it was suing to block the deal. Regulators saying it would create a monopoly for medicines to treat Pompe disease. That's a rare genetic condition. So for more on this, our very own Yahoo Finance reporter Anjalee Khemlani is here. And Anjalee, this feels like part of the Biden administration's overall push for killing some of these acquisitions. But what's standing out to you here?
Yes, that is actually correct. This is just another one of those. But the interesting part about this one is that this is the first time that FTC won. So they actually get, a pat on the back for stopping this licensing agreement, kind of making good on a threat that Chair Lina Khan had, to take a look at these smaller deals. We know that if you look at the scoreboard right now, this is the first win that the commission has had. They were not able to stop the $28 billion Amgen Horizon deal or the $43 billion Pfizer and Seagen deal, the latter of which just closed today or got approval to close today. So if you take a look at those pricing of those deals, you see that this is quite small on that scale, just a $750 million or so. There you go, $735 million on the board for that. And it was a licensing deal. It wasn't even an acquisition. It was just global rights for a drug that fits in with sort of Sanofi's pipeline. And that's something that has been a topic of conversation. Chair Lina Khan saying that these smaller deals tend to create monopolies and create an atmosphere of anti-competitiveness, saying, quote, we've seen a whole set of deals that are below our radar that are kind of slowly and incrementally consolidating a market. And she has said that across the board, across sectors. So it's not just pharma and healthcare, it's also in the tech sector. You see these deals, they're called kill acquisitions or the like. There's, a lot of data that shows that these smaller deals actually do sort of snuff out, the potential competition. But there are experts who say that this sort of strategy is necessary in the healthcare space because these smaller biotechs cannot take on the cost that is needed to bring a drug to market, to commercialize it. I spoke to Craig Garthwaite, who is the director of health at the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University, and he said something along those lines, saying, quote, the infrastructure to actually take a drug from phase 2 to phase 3, run the clinical trial well, is an exceptionally expensive fixed cost structure. You don't want all these smaller biotechs getting into those fundings, because then that also does increase the cost if a smaller firm has to then take on the role of running those large randomized clinical trials. So it is sort of an ecosystem that has been created to allow nimble, smaller companies to feed into the pipeline and then get to the finish line. So, yes, we are the largest payers of healthcare and of drugs. What is the actual sort of key to bringing that back? That's still, the reason for debate. But first win for FTC, so we'll see what else they have up their sleeve.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question. You were just talking about some of these smaller, more nimble biotech companies. 4 years ago, Moderna, almost nobody had heard of it, at least I hadn't. And there's a little bit of news today. Now they're a much bigger company, but the stock's down about the most in a month, and there's a little bit of a leadership change.
A little bit of leadership change, yes. Arpa Gray taking a step back, leaving the company after a year of joining. That puts CEO Stéphane Bancel in the seat to drive the commercial strategy. So it's sort of starting to feel a little bit more like a biotech again, with the big guy in the seat to, increase sales of Spikevax. They really have had a rough year with winding down operations from, COVID and looking at what their pipeline is going to look like. They have their RSV product and the flu products in the pipeline, but it hasn't been, as strong a portfolio. They have not been able to get to a point where there's more than one product that they're earning money from. And so that's been the major concern for investors. It's been a concern, especially in the competition of the mRNA space. Yes, they were ahead of the game for the pandemic, but now they're reaching a point where they have to sort of prove more than just the COVID vaccine.
Right, and if the street always rewards growth, it's probably hard to have a growthier year than the one where you helped end a pandemic, Anjalee.
With billions of dollars to boot, yes.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. That was so interesting. We really appreciate it. Our very own Anjalee Khemlani.